Hi, welcome to Conquering Clutter's YouTube channel. My name is Bob, and we are going to talk about in this video closet measurements and why they're important. Your closet laid out with all different heights and widths, and that can affect your budget, and the way things end up happening is your to ceiling heights and the width heights and all that, it can end up costing you more money than what you plan on, and there's reasons why. And so we're going to just try to touch base on these measurements, okay? So let's always keep in mind that, and I do this here because 42 inches over 42 is a double hang. This is the most useful, efficient use of your wall space, is a double hang. We're trying to get cubic storage on walls because the walls are the best use of space. Sometimes you could put islands in the center and things like that. So we'll touch base on those reasons, but a double hang. So right now we have 84 inches. In most homes, or typical homes, you have 8-foot ceilings in your closets, and you end up with a 12-inch shelf going all the way around the top, which is great. You can put luggage up there, hats, sweaters, things like that up there, okay? So this is going to get you a standard system. Cost is reasonable because you're keeping it all within parameters of a sheet of material. And most of your sheets of material come in 4-foot by 8-foot, which that's what we're going to get into, okay? So now if you want to carry that look to the ceiling, thankfully in an 8-foot, your system can go straight to the ceiling, and then you can put your fancy crown molding going here, you know, on the side there, with the look of it. And so this is an efficient way to do it if you have 96-inch ceilings, okay? So the material comes in 4x8, it goes all the way to the ceiling. You get a double hang and a shelf above it, and crown molding, so it looks nice that way. But now, what happens if you have 9-foot ceiling? 108, or 9 feet. Since the material only comes in 4x8, what you have to end up doing is making the lower section 84, but then we make another box up here 24, and that gets you your full 108, and then you can put your crown molding on here. Usually this box is like 21 inches, okay? 21 inches tall and it's free to use. You can get one adjustable shelf in there too. Okay, and just split up the heights like that. Or if you want to put some shoes and get them out of the way, you can do that with it. So in order to do this though, we're using a quarter more material to get to this height than you would if you just kept it at 84 or 96 and still had a 1-foot ceiling or a 1-foot space up above to the ceiling. Now, what I meant by that is, here's your 42. I just always do a double hang because that's the most use of space. 12, and then another 12. So there's your 24-inch box. Here's your 84-inch box. Okay? And so those are your heights. So always remember, if you take it to the ceiling on an 8-foot or a 9-foot or above, you're using a quarter. If it's 10-foot ceilings, you're using a third more material. So same situation here. You would have an 84 or a 36-inch box. And this is for 10-foot ceilings. Okay? So just keep these in mind. But always, this is your working height right here. This is the key one, and it could be 88 if you're a taller person, but 84, 88, that's the working height that you'll need to go for your system to go all the way around. Okay? Now that we cover that, let's talk about widths. And the reason widths are important are, here's a typical layout of a closet. Door goes in. So you got your verticals going around this closet. So in order to get your costs down, if this is a 42-inch section, you can eliminate this vertical, and this now could be 1. So you just dropped your cost because all of your material costs for a closet are based on lineal footage. How much material are they putting in? If you're using a stack of material like that or like that, of course it's going to be more money for the taller stack of material. but there's ways to eliminate it. So 42 on a double hang right there. And so you'll see some people come in and make 16 inch, 14 inch, 18 inch. That's great, because if that's your need and you have the reasons for these, go ahead and do that. But if you don't and you're just trying to get a closet organized, know that these are very small, and so it costs more money to make these sections than it does this section. If these were, you know, a 16 and a 10, that's 42. Look how much more money there is involved to do that. Okay? And the way the closet lays out too is important, how they're putting these sections to get the most use of the material. Okay, so what I like to do is 42 inches on hanging, max. Don't try to go over that. The poles are sometimes start to weaken. It depends what kind of material you have for those. Try to keep it 42 or less. At Conquering Clutter, we'll put a little L bracket under each shelf and secure it to a stud to make sure the shelf doesn't bow in the middle. And the pole can stretch the full 42 without causing any damage to anything. And then you can maximize it at 42 inches. These are important. Shelving. I'm going to show you an example of a shelf. Here's your shelves. 32 max. The reason I say that is because you can get 4 pair of ladies' shoes per shelf. If you go over 32, you can go to 36, but you're kind of wasting material, because you're getting, out of 32 inch, you get 3 cuts, which total up to 96. 36, now they're cutting and having a big waist and maybe using it in a system or maybe not. It all depends how it lays out. But plus, you get a full 4 ladies' shelves or 3 pair of men's shoes, which if you measure them side by side, men's are usually around 10, women's are 8. So I try to go 32 inch maximum on shelving. But I'm going to show you one important thing here. Let's just say you got a 32 inch section here too. Of course, this section is going to cost more than this one. You just use twice the amount of shelves. So when you're comparing apples to apples with other vendors and you've got 40 pair of shoes, you want to make sure you get them all in there. Well, you're not going to get them here. You're going to get them here, but you're not going to get them here. This is so important for you to know what is in each section besides just looking at the whole closet layout. So just remember, this of course is going to be more, this is going to be less, but here's the thing too. If you put this in and now you're putting everything away in your closet and you're like, my God, I've got 8 inches of space above my shoes. Hey supplier, I need some more shelving. Well, this may be double the cost now, because now they got to cut those just for your system and get them out to you. So you just added cost to your system within a week after getting in. You know, and a lot of places, they make a lot of money on those, okay? Those little accessory items or additional items that are needed to help get your closet. So pay attention to how many shelves are in a section. That's important for your cost. Also pay attention to the widths, you know. If you have a 16 inch width and you have no choice to put it there, but at least you can get 2 pair of your shoes in there. If it's 20 for men and you have a small section, you know you could get 2 men's pair of shoes in there comfortably. You still can fold sweaters and jeans to fit in that section too, okay? Drawers. I like to keep them at 30 inches. I should say Conquering Clutter does, because all of our designers do that. 30 inches max. You can step down to 24, 18, or 28, whatever you need to fit in that space. But when you start going past 30, the drawer becomes very big, large, and bulky. And you don't want that. It's hard to like organize that drawer too, to keep it clean every time you open and close and all the stuff moving around. The smaller, the better. A 30-inch drawer is very good use for accessories like jewelry inserts and that. They fit a lot of them, things like that. The dividers for sunglasses. A 24-inch drawer is great. An 18-inch drawer, it's still a good drawer, but the value becomes questionable, because drawers, you know, range from $100, $135 a drawer. Keep that in mind when you're doing that. Also, too, in these sections of 30 24, 18, 36, accessories like hampers, jewelry inserts, pull-out shoe shelves. They all fall in those even categories of numbers, okay? You don't have a hamper that fits a 29-inch section. You have one that fits a 30. Okay? The next thing I want to talk to you about is obstructions. All right, so if you have a vent, a lot of times you come across these and you're like, what do I do with that? What I've done in the past is I put a shelf above it and below it, and then we put a plate here and bring that vent out. So this now acts as a ductwork to bring the return air or the exchange air that comes through the heating or cooling system out in the room, and you can't block it. Okay, there's no obstructions to block it. So the shelving and the two verticals with the faceplate actually act like an extension of the ductwork. I've also done in the past is I put a blank plate. So if the vent is up high and my crown molding and that's going here, and say the vent is here, like so, what I'll do is I'll put a fake panel in this section here. So now it's only X amount deep, 12 or 14. And then I'll keep the shelf like this and then put that vent out here. So this acts as the ductwork. And so that's a simple way to get around it. Now I ain't got to worry about cutting into my beautiful crown molding or making my top section look horrible. Sometimes if they fall in the ceiling, you're able to move the vent. Since it falls in a joist, you can move it out to here, and this gets covered, so you ain't got to worry about the hole. Make sure that the guys glue something up over the hole so stuff doesn't fall down into your top of your system or insulation or whatever it may be, okay? So that's a good way to take care of vents. You can also have done it that way, is brought it all the way down to the bottom. But if it depends what you're dealing with. So if it's an air conditioning unit or heating, wherever it's coming in the room, the engineer of that system designed it that way, and so you try to keep it close to those. The old infamous outlet. I cannot tell you over 25 years of doing this how many times we've had a vertical fall on the center of an outlet. You either have to move the outlet, or the outlet becomes useless now because you got this vertical panel in the way of it. So make sure you measure for all your obstructions in a room. It is so important for the layout of your room too, because if it's an outlet you need to get to and you iron in that room, all of a sudden now it's blocked, and now you're like, well, what do I do now? So you'd rather cross that bridge earlier than later on, okay? Another thing is a cable panel. You see these all the time. Here's an outlet down below it. What I always try to do, or conquering clutter, I keep saying it's conquering clutter. I try to put a what did I just do? Did I not just tell myself that? Conquering clutter usually puts a pole above it, and this way you can move the clothing over either direction or take it out and get to that panel very easily. Don't put another hang crossing the center of it, because then you've got to pull that out completely every time. What we like to do too is, from a top view, bird's eye view, here's your two verticals, and then here's the panel. What we'll do is we'll router out a couple adjustable shelves so they can flow very easily, and then you just have to move a couple, getting your panel, fix your problem. Okay, those are good ways to work around obstructions. Windows, same thing. When you're laying out for a window, you know, because windows, sun ruins clothes, as we all know. It ruins material. It beats up your carpeting, and it'll take a beating on your clothing. So you can either, some people have us block them completely out and say I don't use it, but you want to make it look nice, so we'll put something white over it first and then build the system over it. It's not a good way. You can make the panel removable if you ever have to get to that window too. Okay? But working around windows and things like that, and it's all where they're at. If they're in a corner, it makes the closet difficult now to lay out because you've got a window in a corner. And we'll cross that bridge down the road here. We'll talk about that. Not on this video, but other ones here. The other thing I want to talk to you about is holes or no holes. So these are important. So when you're laying the system out, expectation is the whole key to closets, right? What did you expect when you paid for this closet? What did you expect? You expect to get what you thought you were getting. Sometimes it's not that way, right? So on holes, there's really not much they can do about those once they're in. But the thing about holes are, it gives your system flexibility. You could take a double hang and turn this section into all shelving, because now you got shelves there, or pins and holes there. That's all you do is add them in. Very simple down the road to change that. Or if it's shelving, you can put the pole back up there and create a hang out of that. You can add drawers now because the holes are there. Not saying you can't do it down the road, but it just makes it more difficult. Shoe shelves are difficult because they got to drill out all these holes there, and may not be as accurate as it once was. The other option is you can go no holes, which we've had some customers do, especially on high-end systems. You know, so you want to make sure you don't have all these holes all over the place. You have to work with the designer to make sure you line up the holes exactly where the pole goes, or a shelf. These are important because now you've got this laid out, and all of a sudden you go back and you hang your clothes and they're dragging down here, and you're like, oh my God, we got to move this up, and then we got to move this up. Now you've got 6 holes and you just paid additional money to do this. So pay attention to those things. These are things that you have to do in order to get the expectation of the system exactly where you want it. Okay? So that takes care of this segment. At Conquering Clutter, we always say organization isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. I say this over and over in every one of our videos. I will continue to say this. Clear mind, open heart, happiness every time you walk in that closet, because that's what you paid for, is to be organized and to alleviate stress, not make it worse. Okay, so remember, this stuff is a necessity in your life. It makes it easier as you go along, and plus the value of a closet is always there when you sell the home. You get your money back out of it. Sometimes people buy homes because all the storage space is where they need it, and storage space today's world, as homes become smaller out there, you don't see the excessive mansions houses out there with tons of storage. You see smaller homes that are more affordable because prices are continuing to raise. And so a storage space is key. Don't make it a nightmare walking in there. Just remember this, please. Okay? Have a good day. Like us, subscribe to us, send us your questions. We're always there to answer and help you out, okay? Thank you from the folks at Conquering Clutter. Looking forward for our next video. It's going to be a good one. Have a good day.